we start?
Yeah.
Welcome to Ellen Road this afternoon. This is Ian Brook with David Wanless for his inter-round summaries, now famed nationwide. And John Smith's Yorkshire Cup final between Wakefield Trinity and Sheffield. Teams are just being introduced to the dignitaries that are here, just going down the Sheffield lineup. As they're getting introduced, I'll ask David to give you the teams for this afternoon's match.
Thanks very much, Ian, and it is a absolutely superb day for rugby here at Ellen Road. This pitch in absolutely superb condition. The dignitaries just at the end of the Sheffield line, which I'll quickly go through their side. At number 1, the former Balmain player Gary Jack. At 2 is Mark Gamson. 3 is Richard Price. 4, David Maiko, almost signed for Wakefield Trinity as a junior, but opted for Sheffield. David Plange, that Castleford, ex-Castleford winger, and in absolutely superb form this season. Halfbacks then, number 6, Mark Aston, the Great Britain international, and 7, Tim Lum, an on-loan signing this week. 8 then is Paul Broadbent, 9, Mick Cook, 10 is Dale Lawton, 11 is Bruce Maguire, former Canterbury Bankstown player, and 12 is Paul Carr, the other Australian contingent off the Sheffield side, and at 13, Anthony Farrell. At 14 then, Andy Young, and at 15, Hugh Waddell. No place then in this side for Darryl Powell, still out injured. They'll miss him today, they'll miss his size out in the 3 quarters.
Perfect condition as Mr. Smith, the referee from Castleford, have just tossed up, and it looks like it's going to be Sheffield's kick-off. Just having the last few moments together and psyching one another up. So Sheffield then going to get this game underway. Fair crowd behind the left-hand side. Trinity's try line, they should be attacking this first half. Plenty of vocal support there for Trinity in the final again after 2-year absence when they lost here against Castleford. So it's Bagnall there, gives the bones to Jones, ball to Jones, and here comes Jones for, gets to the 20-metre line, but is met by Sheffield tackling. It's going to be first, these first few minutes. That's Farrell there just going to take the first drive, and then Webster following through. The 2 Sheffield 11 and 12, both wearing head guards. That's Maguire and Carr, the 2 Australians. That's back to Nigel Wright, well positioned. Good chase by Farrell there to try and put him off, and here's the man in at the moment, and listen to the roar as Gary Jack gets the ball, but just not used to the turf yet, just a little slip, and over he goes. Wakefield there, caught offside. First penalty of the afternoon going to Sheffield. So Mr. Smith, who I've seen a few times this season, I rate as probably one of the best referees of the new breed. David, he's only 28 years of age, but I've seen him a few times. I've been thoroughly impressed with the lad.
Yes, we were just discussing this before the game, Ian, and the lad's only been refereeing a few seasons, and he's been quickly upgraded to Grade 1 referee, and that just says a lot for him. You know, you don't get upgraded that quick, Ian, if you're not the man for the job.
Quite true. So it's Sheffield then, centre field. Here comes Maguire. Number 11 there, just bringing the ball up. He's been an inspiration to Sheffield since he signed from this time. The captain of Sheffield. It's close, the hooker gives it to Aston, moves it out, Jack, and that looks a little bit high from Andy Mason there. Gary Jack took a little bit of a knock from that head eye. John Glancy's pulled out. Just round the neck there, David.
Yeah, I think John Glancy just chased him across the field there and just tried to tackle him, and his arm just over the shoulder region. Mr. Smith just giving him a stern ticking off there. Sheffield Eagles, Ian, 6 points in the league. Wakefield Trinity have got none. Do you think it'll have any bearing on this game?
None whatsoever, David. One off Cup finals, Yorkshire Cup final, and Wakefield have been playing well. They just haven't had the bit of luck that makes them a winning side. Sheffield have had 3 good wins in this Yorkshire Cup, beating Bradford, Halifax and Hull, whereas Wakefield only played a 3rd division and 1 2nd division side, so Sheffield come here as favourites, but on the day that doesn't mean anything at all. So Sheffield then, and that's a drop ball there from Dale Lawton, Sheffield number 10, and Wakefield a little bit slow acting half back there. Nigel Bell having to dive on that ball. Here comes John Glancy, former Sheffield Eagles player, been signed on for Wakefield now for 5 or 6 years. And Sheffield, number 6, Mark Aston there, that Mr. Smith has pointed out was offside, so early settling down period. David, penalties to both sides, nothing really, foundations, nothing got settled yet.
No, that's right, there's no entertaining football been played in these early stages, but by the eagerness of both Wakefield and Sheffield's defences, Ian, you know, Russell Smith's quite right to pull both sets of defenders up, because they have been encroaching in that 10, so they're easy to form a good defensive stand, both sides, trying to get on top in the defence, and it's costing them so far.
As Big Fritz then, Darren Fritz from Canberra takes it up. Few Aussies on the field today, this Bagnall, that's another. Mark Webster, crowd shouting, thought it was a little bit forward, going towards the Sheffield 20. Bagnall again, distributor of many things at... that's Carr there, the other Aussie. 6 Aussies on the field today. 3 for Wakefield, 3 for Sheffield. Here's Nigel Wright, recovered from that rib injury he sustained at Salford last week. Richard Slater, John Glancy on his right, pressing forward, Trinity towards that Sheffield 20-metre line. We're on the 5th and last, so is it going to be a little kick over from Nigel Wright? He tries it, a lucky bounce, and Richard Slater's going to be in. Oh, what good fortune for Wakefield. First score on the board, little grubber kick through, and there goes Richard Slater under the sticks. Brilliant start for Wakefield there, David.
Well, what can I say? It's obviously a planned move. It's a hardly driven ball, and anything happens on a planned move, Ian. The ball was driven very, very hard to the ground. The emphasis is to make the defence fumble the ball and possibly capitalise. Unfortunately for Sheffield there, it hit a man and it rebounded up, but Richard Slater plucked that ball from out of the air there, and it just stuck to his fingers, and majestically he strode round Gary Jack to slide under the post and give Wakefield the dream start that they wanted. What an absolutely superb start for Wakefield, Trinity.
And you can tell by the crowd that that's successful. So that's Wakefield 6, Sheffield Eagles 0.
Well, an absolutely superb start from Wakefield, Trinity. Congratulations to Richard Slater there. As I say, managed to just pluck that ball out of the area, and he stood Gary Jack up. What a superb sidestep that was to slide under the posts.
Yes, he can do it, can Richard. Lots of times you want his talents to come out and show, and there we know what an exceptional sidestep he has, and he left Gary Jack there for dead. So Wakefield then should be full of confidence. Gary Spencer trying to bring the ball clear. Here comes big Darren Fritz. He's a big lad, he takes some pulling down. Cook, the hooker there, does the job. Here comes Gary Price, losing the ball there, Gary. Quick riposte from Sheffield, that's Maguire. Bad mistake there from Gary Price, and that's an even worse mistake from Sheffield, getting their first touch of the ball and knocking on in such a good situation. Right on the 20 metres line there and making a big mistake. So at present, Wakefield have settled down more to the game. That try giving them the confidence they need. Sheffield just making elementary mistakes at this present time, David.
That's right, Ian. A little bit unfortunate there to knock on, but play the ball, you've got to try and keep hold of it. You've got to try and stick to the possession, because possession is 9/10 of the law, Ian.
So Wakefield then getting that ball from that scrum, and Darren Fritz making good yardage upfield. He's followed by John Glancy. John Glancy taking it in strong. So back Wakefield are coming further and further up the field. Bagnall picked out by Timmy Lum. who's on loan from Hunslet. Which Hunslet, this is their home ground. That's a nice kick from Nigel Wright. It goes over Gary Jack's head and makes him turn as the ball goes into dead, and touch judge points to the 20. Didn't actually touch that. He was thinking about it a couple of times with Gary Jack, but just a little bit too much pace on that ball. So that's Maguire then taking the ball up. He looked to lose that ball before he played it, but Sheffield Eagles dropping the ball again, but luckily it goes back from Lawton. Here's Maguire again, and he's dropped the ball, so Sheffield Eagles not settled at all, David.
No, that's right. Knocking on quite often now, and they're losing possession. Obviously, it gives Wakefield now a lot of chance to have the ball in their hands, and they're obviously going to try and settle a lot sooner than Sheffield.
So here comes Trinity. Nigel Wright again. He sees a bit of an opening, nearly through, but Carr makes a nice tackle on him. Andy Mason goes in acting half back. Gary Price then comes wider out. Richard Slater. Andy Mason going in at acting half back again to Bagnall. Quickly is Tim Love up to him. Nigel Wright, little short back to pass to Gary Spencer. He tried to hold the ball up there for Gary to come on to. Here comes Bagnall again. That'll be a little chip through, a little bit too strong. That ball's gone in touching goal, so that's going to be another 20 tap for Sheffield, but at this moment in time, Wakefield with all the pressure on Sheffield, David.
Yes, they're enjoying a lot of possession through Sheffield mistakes, and obviously that'll allow them to gain in confidence, where Sheffield really have got to settle in, and they've not really settled down yet, have they?
No, but there's always periods in games where the other side seems to be on top, and then it changes and fluctuates, and the other side come back. And this game just still in its early stages, as Paul Carr trying to make good yardage for Sheffield. Here comes Lawton, met strongly by 3 Wakefield tacklers. Back to Gary Jack, under no pressure at all, can just place that kick where he wants to. Andy Wilson brings it in play, ball went back, signalled by Mr. Smith. So Andy Wilson centre field in his own 20 with the ball. Bagnall, Nigel Bell ringing clear. Just nearly got round Aston there, and plenty of wide open spaces on this Ellen Road pitch. Bagnall looking for the gaps, bobbing and weaving, making good yardage. Taken by Cook, and number 8 Broadbent, Nigel Wright, trying a little dummy with a Maguire there, pulled for Richard Slater. Took him off the ball there. Paul Carr getting rid of his headgear there, just throwing it to the touchline, so we can tell which now is Maguire and which is Carr in that second row. So it's Nigel Wright then from centre field inside his own half, going to kick for touch. And the main thing about that is that it's gone into touch. Only made a couple of yards, but he hasn't given the opposition the ball. Here comes Mark Webster back after injury. It looks like he's took a hard knock there.
Well, Ian, he was met quite solidly. I didn't see anything from our vantage point here of any foul play whatsoever. I just think it was a good, hard, clean tackle, and Mark Webster looks to be flat out. I think the referee's got to stop the game here, and just to have a look at him, Lee Robinson a bit worried about him, and I think he's pushed him into the precautionary position on his side, and he'll probably be having a look at where his tongue is, perhaps. Maybe they'll call for the doctor.
And from the next play, Wakefield lost possession. It looks to be okay, just a little bit fuzzy. He's going into the second row. Fritz has just moved up while he still recovers from that arc tackle from Broadbent. Gary Jack coming to bring it blind. Bagnall holds him. Here comes Plange. And the Wakefield tacklers quickly in. Gary Jack going on his own down that blind side. But Slater and Jones make the tackle on him. Here comes Tim Lum, gives it to Lawton. Tim Lum brings Maguire back to Tim Lum. Then he slips the ball in the tackle. Here's David Maiko, a Wakefield lad from Criggleston. So playing against his hometown club. Penalty that's going to be. Nigel Bell just interfering to play the ball, so it looks like a chance for the Eagles to get on the score sheet. Just more or less in line with the right-hand post. And it looks like it's going to be Maiko who's going to make the kick, David.
Well, Ian, you know, as the ball goes underground to play, you know, for the player to play the ball, it's therefore in play and players can strike for it. And kicking through at the play the ball is, in my opinion, not a technical offence. I think really what the game should have carried on there with 6 more tackles to Sheffield Eagles and not the penalty that was given.
So Maiko then with a chance to put his side on the score sheet, and he's missed it. He's pulled it wide, and that's Cook to Aston. Lawton short on the ball, but taken well there by John Glancy. Timmy Lum then to Aston, switching side to Farrell. Farrell, he keeps the ball alive to Timmy Lum. Timmy Lum, nice side step, but lost the ball there. Looked like a knock on. Gary Jack backing him up there, but again, Sheffield not putting the pressure on, not getting near the Trinity line, losing possession again, David.
That's right, but that's twice we've seen Tim Lum break the Wakefield Trinity defensive line. We've seen him when he's played for Hunslet and when he's played against Wakefield. He scored 2 tries in a pre-season friendly. We all know how quick he is off the mark. I think Wakefield Trinity have got to rise to that when he gets the ball today.
Penalty there to Wakefield, head high by Mr. Smith, he says, on Gary Price. I think it was Cook, the hooker there, that got pulled out for that one. So Nigel Wright then with a nice kick down touchline there. He goes a good 30 metres, brings play to within 10 metres of the Sheffield 10 metre line, 20 metre line. Comes centre field, John Glancy. Gary Jack, and we notice right up in the line, so Sheffield are wide open for that little chip kick through. He's trying to organise his defence there. Gary Jack just behind the line. He's only a yard behind the line as Mark Webster looks like he's recovered from that heavy tackle. Gets play inside the Sheffield 20. Bagnall, big Darren Fritz comes on the charge, and just an ankle tap just stopped him there. So Wakefield then, we're in with a chance. Nigel Wright drops a goal. So beautiful bit of play, good pressure from Wakefield, and a nice drop goal from Nigel Wright, David.
Yes, I always maintain, Ian, that once you get into an opposition's 20 area, you should always come away with at least a point, and especially when you're 6 points to 0 up. That 1 point just puts you within that imaginary figure, 1 point within a try and a goal. So Wakefield certainly now establishing themselves very strongly in these early stages.
So it's 7-0 after 17 minutes. And that kick down to Bagnall gives it to David Jones. So Wakefield being in full control so far this afternoon. David Jones right on the centre of the 20 metre line. Gary Spencer helping his forwards out, just coming into the attack, tackled by Farrell. Here comes Glancy, looking for those gaps, making the valuable yardage, getting out of that danger zone. Mark Webster only held by one leg from Broadbent, but the other helpers then come in. Bagnall's running it, lovely little ball to Fritz. Here comes Fritz on the charge, got Andy Mason with him. Fritz still going, gives it to Andy Mason, but Plange covers across, beautiful. So Wakefield here on the attack, can they bring it left from Bagnall? Bagnall must score. Yes, Slater drops the ball, but Sheffield man interfered, was offside, and that's going to be brought back for a penalty to Wakefield, but had a magnificent chance of scoring there, Wakefield, David.
Well, that would have put a real firm footing on this game had Wakefield Trinity have converted that move into a try. But however, Darren Fritz, a majestic run down this left-hand side as we look at it. And Jeff Bagnall, and just as we're talking, has gone over for a superb try from a quick tap and play the ball. So Jeff Bagnall, I think it's his first try this season, Ian, and he'll be really pleased about that.
Yes, you could be right, David. There was just a little bit of controversy there because Carr, in that moment when Wakefield were previously going to score, just interfered with play. He was in an offside position, didn't get the sin bin, but there was a penalty to Wakefield. Bagnall, noticing that Sheffield geared up, wanted at home, took the quick tap and went over, David.
You know, he's been an exemplary captain all season, and he just spotted the gap, as you say, Ian, just on this left-hand side, very close to touchline, and he's established Wakefield to the tee in a very, very commanding position. Absolutely superb move. What I was going to say, Ian, that Darren Fritz, I feel, when he made that break earlier on, if he'd have looked to his left and probably, tried to travel left rather than going and looking for the speed man Mason, we had a little bit of an overlap. But however, it doesn't really matter, Ian, because Bagnall there, opportunist try.
Do you think the Aussie games took anything out of it?
It could well be, but they had 4 players missing from that game. You know, the 4 players were the Australian contingent, really. Maguire, Carr was missing, and just a couple of other players. But, yeah, I mean, obviously a big game like the Australian game could have done, but they've not established themselves in this game so far, Ian, because they've made far too many mistakes, elementary mistakes, little knock-ons here and there, have not kept possession for the full 6.
Thanks, Frank. I thought you forgot my name. John Glancy then. Wakefield well on top at present. Here comes Fritz after that storming long run, and boy, this guy does take some stopping when he gets going. He's a big lad, he has. More pace than I thought there when he made that break, David. He surprised me.
Yes, those long legs, he really stretched them out, and there was nobody making any impression on him whatsoever from the Sheffield side. And, well, I don't think he's quick enough to go the length, but certainly quick for a second rower.
Nigel Wright doing a lovely little bit of skill there just to beat those would-be tattles of Sheffield as we come to the last, and that's a kick from Bagnall, finding touch, shovels Sheffield back down into their own half. So Wakefield in full control so far. Let's hope they keep this up, because they're keeping it, the tackles, and not losing much ball. We've just had that one from Gary Price, and I think that's probably the only ball they've put down, David.
That's right. The team that obviously makes the less mistakes in a game stands more chance of winning it at the end, and so far Wakefield Trinity have made very few mistakes compared with Sheffield, who have made a lot. So obviously Wakefield really established now in this game, and Sheffield have got it all to do.
Good tackling there from Benson, took 2 on the trot as Cook comes trying to get clear, but Sheffield really on a down at present. Not many runners coming. Looking for Farrell on the inside ball, met by Mark Webster, and Gary Price solidly there. So Cook then to Lum, a long ball to Aston, longer to Jack. Gary Jack comes inside, keeping the ball alive, back to Aston, got Maiko free, then to Plange. Good little bit of play from Sheffield there. We're on the 5th and last. Wakefield's Aston then with the kick, a little chip forward for himself, picks up, back inside, and Wakefield then have got possession. But it looks like he's got Wakefield for offside. Said it took a Wakefield man there, and that's going to be a penalty to Sheffield.
That's right, Ian, and the decision was correct. Nigel Bell there just chasing play back, stuck his arm out from that pass from Mark Aston. The ball touched him and John Glancy picked it up. So yes, the referee's really right, but this is the best football that Sheffield have had so far this game.
Look like they've lost the ball again, and Wakefield have recovered, and that's Timmy Lum trying to get Gary Spencer down. Gary Spencer right on his own post, 10 metres out. Wakefield with the ball, stumble there from David Jones. Sheffield wanting to bring Hugh Waddell on for a Lawton, trying to get the next stoppage in play as Gary Price just gets over that 20-metre line, centre field. There's Nigel Bell, then to Big Fritz, having a big game so far, slips the ball, a little bit dangerous, but manages to Nigel Bell, to Benson, to Andy Wilson for a little run to his opposite number, but Sheffield cover there, but making good yardage there, Wakefield with possession. Bagnall again, Nigel Bell, he'll probably have a little bit of a run. So we're on the 5th and last, 10 metres from the halfway line in their own half. Wakefield, centre field, Bagnall gets caught at acting half back there. Knock on, so that's going to be hand over a little bit. Caught there, Jeff Bagnall, David.
Little bit scrappy at play the ball, Ian. The guy that plays the ball should always give his acting half back plenty of chance. So that means, you know, really standing upright and square so that the markers can't get round to him as quickly as they can.
That's Maiko then with the ball, coming in field. 10 metres from the 20-metre line of Wakefield as Lawton takes it up strong. Sheffield trying to get pressure on the Trinity line. Haven't been near it so far this afternoon after 20 minutes. Aston, little bit of a fumble there. And then another fumble to Carr. But it comes off for him and he makes good yardage inside the Wakefield 20. This is the closest they've been to the line. Little chip through. Looked like it was took off the ball there. That's going to be a penalty to Sheffield. Timmy Lum, a little kick through. Darren Fritz just doing the little shoulder charge on him, David.
Yeah, that's right, but obviously there was no chance there of Tim Lum getting to that ball before any Wakefield defender. So Russell Smith, right to give the penalty and right to not give an obstruction try in.
So that's Cook then that's going to take the tap. Aston wanting the ball. I think he's probably going to have a kick at goal, David.
Yes, obviously what they'll try and do, Sheffield now, Ian, is get some points on the board, because as the game goes along and they don't have any points on the board, confidence will be very, very high in the Wakefield Trinity camp, and Sheffield will try. But actually, Ian, they've taken a quick tap. What can I say? They've come back a good 15-20 metres there to tap that ball.
Can't understand that at all, David. No, they're looking a little bit at 6s and 7s as Wakefield go crashing in and shove Paul Carr back. I thought he was coming back to have a kick at goal myself, Aston. Probably they wanted a bit more yardage to put a few moves on, but they've done nothing that's been untoward yet to Wakefield. As they take it left, Aston loads a little ball up for Hugh Waddell, and he comes charging through. Hugh Waddell on for Lawton. So Gary Jack acting half-back, he's going to go blind. Going for that try. We're on the 5th and last, and they're a meeting out from the Wakefield line. Here comes Tim Lum, makes a little kick. Ball goes to ground, it's off a Wakefield player. So it's back to 1 again. Everybody seemed to be stood watching that ball there, David, and I'll bring you in when I get a chance just to your thoughts on that as Maiko gets tackled centre field. So Sheffield then with their best moments in this game so far. In the Wakefield 20, Wakefield defending desperately. Had to make enormous amount of tackles so far as Andy Wilson tries to come in and get that ball out, and Andy Wilson manages to get possession. It was all back by Gamson, so I'll bring you in on that point, David, that just happened earlier on the far side. Everybody seemed to be stood watching the ball.
That's right, Sheffield players alike, they didn't see that it touched the Wakefield Trinity man. It was definitely play on. Everybody was looking at the ball as if it were going to explode in the face. And when Gary Jack realised that the ball had come back to him, he quickly dropped on it. Sheffield got 6 more tackles and really bombarded the Wakefield Trinity line, but the defence held solid. And from that resulting chip through by Tim Lung there again, Wakefield Trinity get the ball through Andy Wilson.
So it's Fritz bringing play up to halfway. So the Wakefield pack, I would think, are really on top this afternoon so far. Bagnall then to Nigel Wright. Inside then to Gary Price. Gary Price coming across the field. Gets it out to Andy Wilson. Ties a little chip down the wheel. That's gone to Gamson. But the referees ruled a knock on. Well, he said it held his hand, but we were in a good position there, David. I think it just touched his foot. What do you think?
I don't think it was a knock on. Very, very hard done to their Sheffield Eagles. The lad actually touched the ball with his feet, and had he have been what I would call an out-and-out winger, a winger with pace, and that could have been a try for Sheffield.
Certainly could, David, as Wakefield got possession. Andy Wilson then gets the ball from Bagnall, takes it deep into the Sheffield half, where we have Nigel Bell. Nigel Bell making good yardage. Jeff Bagnall goes in acting half-back. Are we looking for a switch? John Glancy, but Wakefield not running there as strong as they have been doing. The forwards are making inroads in there, and John Glancy just fumbles that ball. So Wakefield have just caught the Sheffield habit a little bit, David.
That's right, just a few mistakes creeping into the Wakefield side, and while ever they keep making mistakes, you see Sheffield will probably try and get a grip on this game, so it's a bit scrappy at the moment, this first half.
So that's Eagles' possession, with Price, the centre, just linking in. Aston then brings it this side to Hugh Waddell. Here comes Gary Jack, trying it close up, missed him out, and it went to Gamson, and Mark Gamson was well taken there. Plays the ball to himself, and he's met by Richard Slater just short of the halfway over this side. So it's Cook then, gives it to Timmy Lomu, a long wide ball to Aston, and he's well taken there by Darren Fritz, spotted him beautiful, lost yardage there, Sheffield with play, and we're on the fifth and last as Timmy Lomu then keeps deep down this Ellenrope field. Andy Wilson just going to let that go in a touch. A good kick eventually, goes into touch, 8 metres from the Wakefield try line, but it was good defence 5 minutes ago from Wakefield when they had to make at least 18 to 19 tackles on their own line. So if they keep that up all through the game, David. Bagnall, Andy Wilson brings it clear.
Yeah, if they keep that that defence up, Sheffield are going to really have to work very, very hard to get any sort of points on the board whatsoever. It's the defence at the moment of Wakefield Trinity that's the difference between the two sides.
And from an atmosphere, David, the crowd's gone really quiet at this moment in time. You can't hear a pin drop on the ground.
Yes, there's certainly a lull in the crowd's noises, but Wakefield Trinity. Oh, that's a terrible mistake from Darren Fritz there. As soon as the Sheffield Eagles team get the ball, though, Ian, directly underneath us, that's where the main contingent of Sheffield fans are. And as you can see now, the cheers are building up, so they'll be expecting their side to do something from this scrum.
So it's Aston. Wide ball to Price. Price brings it back to Aston, then to Farrell. And then they've lost about 20 yards. That's back to Aston. Aston trying to get clear of Richard Slater, but can't manage it. But a little bit of ineffective play there from Sheffield. Didn't make inroads inside the Wakefield 20 at all like they should have done after getting possession from that Fritz drop ball. Wakefield just making the mistake of late. Never played the ball, and that's a penalty to Wakefield. Good decision from Mr. Smith, the referee. Just threw the ball through his legs, David.
I firmly believe that he actually got a foot to that ball, Ian, but only video will tell. I think that he did get a foot to it, and I think that it was okay, but Russell Smith, right on the spot, gave the decision.
Taken down by Farrell and Maiko. John Glancy makes that good yardage up to the 10-metre line before the 20. Here come Wakefield then, Gary Price. Gary Price there, eye on the man, drops the ball, and what can one say, David?
Well, Ian, I don't think you know this because you were having lunch with the sponsors before the game, but Gary's wife Linda's just gone into hospital just about half an hour or so before the bus was ready to leave to have a baby, and Gary's probably got his mind on that.
I don't think Gary Jack's mind's on it as David Jones goes down the wing. Oh, I thought he could have slipped that ball inside there, but Wakefield getting that possession from Gary Jack's fumble. As we were just talking about Gary Price's fumble, I don't think his wife's gone into hospital, David. We can't put that down as his fumble.
No, that's right, but Gary will obviously have his mind on it, and you may see because of that that David Topliss decides to bring Gary off and probably replace him with Billy Conway.
Here comes Big Fritz, storming run towards that Sheffield Eagles try line. 8 metres out now, Wakefield, all the pressure on. Here comes Gary Spencer. Teknai there, was he? No, as Gary Jack comes away. Then to Michael. Plenty of distance here for Michael. Michael going on his own, but a lovely tackle back from Gary Spencer. And then plays it to himself, and then I don't know what the referees decided.
Yeah, what happened there, Ian, is that the Sheffield man played the ball to himself, and Richard Slater wasn't the regulation 5 metres away from him, and therefore he gave the penalty. And in my view, it was the right decision, Ian.
Nice kick there from Gary Jack. Brings play to within 10 metres of the Wakefield 20 line. But Wakefield an excellent chance there of scoring a try, David.
That's right, from Gary Jack's mistake. Jeff Bagnall quite quick to jump on that loose ball, and he put David Jones away. And had he have passed to the supporting Andy Mason, anything could have happened. He didn't. He opted to keep it. And Wakefield Trinity fluffed the next attempt, and Sheffield came right up the field from that.
So Sheffield now inside the 20. That's Maguire. Hasn't got the proper studs on for the Ellen Road turf. Won't be used to this kind of conditions in Aussie. Don't get anything as lush as this. So Wakefield then, defending their own 20-metre line. Aston then, with a little kick towards the corner. David Jones makes a mess of that. Gary Spencer has to dive on that, and that's the nearest Sheffield's come to scoring a try, David.
That's right, there was definitely panic stations there as David Jones fumbled that ball, but Gary Spencer, good positional fullback. That's one of his major strengths. He's always in the right position, and he was there to just drop on that ball over the line as Mark Aston come towering down on him, but it's a drop out from under the post from Nigel Wright.
It's a good drop out as well. Goes right into the Sheffield half, picks Gary Jack out. Good chase out from Wakefield as Gary Jack comes this side, but well taken there by Nigel Bell. And Gary Jack there knocks on as he gets up. Referee says to Mr. Smith, knocked on, and I think we'll have to have a look at this ball at half-time, David, because both sides lately seem to be dropping it. I think, as somebody told me, it's an exploded bomb and nobody wants to touch it.
Yeah, the Ellen Road ground staff have covered it in butter. But no, definitely, Russell Smith unsighted, looked to his touch judge. Touch judge was right there on view, and he said, yeah, definitely he knocked on. Andy Mason's got a chance to run in.
Yeah, and lovely ball inside to him. Benson over the top. David Jones rides that tackle from plunge and gets on and makes more good yardage. So Wakefield then, a good 40 metres there with the ball. Here comes Benson, Bagnall, bobbing and weaving, trying to get clear. Here Nigel Bell again, gives it to Big Darren Fritz. Big Darren Fritz, oh, he's having a big game this afternoon, and what's happened there? Looks like it's penalty to Wakefield. And his Aussie counterpart, Paul Carr there, David, probably having a little dig at him.
Yeah, he probably don't like the way that Darren Fritz is running, because he's running really strong and hard. You know, and he's been the outstanding second rower of all the 4 second row men on the field this afternoon. And perhaps there's a bit of jealousy there, because he is an Australian and probably Paul Carr don't like it.
So it's going to be Benson with a shot at goal. We've been going roughly about 38 minutes, so it's a couple of minutes to go to half-time plus injury time, and kick could be vital here to put Wakefield in at lead at half-time at 13-0, which would be a good platform for the second half, David.
Well, you know, David Topless will be going into that dressing room, and he's got 13 points clear, and he'll be saying, lads, you know, the way that we're playing, if we continue to play like this, Sheffield won't get a look in, because the defence has been absolutely superb and they've played some good open rugby. You know, so at the moment, Wakefield Trinity on top.
Benson then with the boots. Oh, and he makes a right hash of that. Never got it up off the ground at all, and it'd have chopped somebody's ankles off that, David.
That's right, and you know, I remember him at Featherstone in the semi-final, Ian. Nerves got to him and he fluffed a kick there. That was underneath the post as well, so but Wakefield went on to win the game. Let's just hope that it's a good omen for us.
As David Jones feels that drop out from the 20, brings it centre field just short of the halfway. Gary Price again then comes across this side, shoves one man off, but again loses the ball, and he's lucky that the ball went backwards this time, but his handling's not been all that sure this afternoon so far, and Gary, I think he'll have to have some resin on, and that at half-time. Gary Bagnall, Jeff Bagnall tries to block the bind side, and Mr. Smith says he was taken high there, and game, as you say, David, it's got a little bit scrappy, hasn't it? You know, it's not been a classic by any means.
Well, Ian, you know, I like a good, hard, clean game of rugby, and Sheffield are trying to play it too hard. They're going too high. They're making too many mistakes. They can't get a grip on the game. It must be a nightmare for Gary Etherington. He'll have a lot to say at half-time. But while ever this is going on, Wakefield Trinity will just keep on playing like they are, and maybe you might see another score before half-time, and I think if we do, that's the end for Sheffield.
As Fritz takes it up, but he's met strongly by Cook and Carr. Personal battle going out there between Fritz and Carr. They just passed business cards there to one another, I think. They had a little whisper to one another there. As Nigel Bell brings it up this blind side, and Wakefield getting inside the 20 of Sheffield's as Nigel Wright lines a lovely little gap onto Gary Spencer and then Benson, but good play from Wakefield there. Oh, and a nice little fisticuffs going on there between the two Aussies, Jack and Benson, David. So the Aussie contingent really fired up today, David.
Well, they must have all been watching Frank Bruno last night to get the emphasis to do something like that. But Benson, Ian, professionally, he was out of order. Wakefield Trinity had split the Sheffield defence. Instead of getting down to playing the ball and not letting Gary Jack get to him, he threw the ball down and he launched a massive attack, flinging arms at Gary Jack, and it looks like the Sheffield Eagles players will get the penalty and the pressure's eased. That could have been a try for Wakefield there from that build-up, and that could have been the end for Sheffield, and instead Peter Benson opted to punch Gary Jack's lights out.
Who threw the first one, David? Was it Jack or was it Benson?
I'm sure it was Benson, but only the video will tell.
We're having a good discussion about it anyway in middle of field.
Yeah, well, the three officials are there. I would have said that the touch judge, obviously on that far side, he was the closest. Let's see which way the penalty's going. And he's looking in his pocket here, and he's Mr. Smith, so it's a yellow card for somebody.
Wakefield 4, I've heard, David.
Wakefield 4, that's Benson. He's the first man called out, but I haven't heard a Sheffield number 1 called. Yep. He's going for 10 minutes, Ian. And Gary Jack's now going to get 10. Yes, he's got 10 as well. But Benson was the first man. I think he was the instigator, and Gary Jack retaliated. And retaliation, Ian, gets as much punishment as the initial offender. And they're both going to have to cool off.
The crowd don't like that at the back of the post, David, so I don't think they'll be sat next together on the touchline, Benson and Jack, David.
No, that's right. They might as well go and sit in the dressing room, Ian, because we're very close to half-time. And that's where they're going to have to stay for some 8 minutes or so after it. So, but we're both down to 12 men. There's no real advantage for any side.
Sheffield, though, without a full-back, David, just have to alter their line-up a little bit.
Well, Wakefield Trinity have got to change their setup as well. So it'll just be a few changes.
As Farrell makes a lovely break, then he loses the ball, and Wakefield then get possession. A lot of drop ball. His first half's gone down the ground as David Jones comes in from acting half-back. We now half-time, and Tim Lum there got penalised. Mr. Smith, little few niggles gone on, spoiled the game this afternoon so far, David.
Yes, that's right, and you would have thought after two players been sent to the sin bin that players would watch what they're doing. Tim Lum's been niggling all game, Ian. You know, I think he's going to be lucky not to get a sin bin himself if he doesn't stop it.
So Wakefield then with the penalty, down on the Sheffield 20. Hear the cries of Wakefield. Wakefield as John Glancy goes to within 10 metres of the halfway line, and we must be getting close to half-time now as big Mark Webster takes that to within 6 or 7 yards. Bagnall, here comes big Darren Fritz. Darren Fritz clawing and climbing his way towards that Trinity line, and as the hooter goes for half-time, Trinity a yard off the line, been in control his first half. First half it started so well for Wakefield, ended up a little bit scrappy with the niddles and the drop balls. Not been a classic by any means, but for Wakefield fans and supporters, 13-0 is it, or 11-0's looking pretty good, David.
It is, because it's been a game, as you say, Ian, of horrendous mistakes from both sides. It's been very, very scrappy. But when Wakefield have tried to throw the ball out, they've played some good football. I would say they've played the best football of this first half, and they deserve their 11 points to 0 lead so far.
Welcome back for the second half, and Wakefield in the lead, 11 points to 0. Steve Smith, the referee, just getting a few boos from the Sheffield crowd behind us. Russell Smith, I'm told in my ear from David, and no changes. Wakefield starting the second half as they started the first. Same complement of players. Sheffield made that one substitution. Waddell for Lawton. He's still on. as Wakefield are about through Nigel Wright to get this second half underway. Still plenty of sunshine, as you can see on the far side, just covering half the pitch now. Good long deep kick there. Mark Gamson brings the ball clear. So Sheffield then in their own 20. Got to get quickly onto the score sheet. Wakefield this second half still on 0, and psychologically Waddell there just slipping the ball in the tackle nicely to Cook. Broadbent making good yardage by Webster and Bell. Going to be the kick down, is it? No, a little dummy from Aston, and he gets caught though, and we're on the 5th and last, so it'll probably be a kick this time. Looks like Maiko's got himself climbed up behind the play of the ball, and it goes to David Jones, and it's what you might say as good as a pass. Takes it, and Andy Mason goes in acting half-back. Tries to have a little go on his own, and here comes John Glancy. Pack of Wakefield being very strong this afternoon, being on top really. Mark Webster, he's had a strong game. Lovely little ball to Nigel Wright. He's through again, he's Nigel Wright. Nigel Wright's going to go all the way. Passes inside to Gary Spencer. But Nigel Wright, what a game he's having this afternoon, David.
Oh, superb for an 18-year-old. But Gary Spencer, that's for Olivia. That's for his newborn baby daughter. And Bev, congratulations to you as well, my love. And that's a superb present for all of you. A superb break there from Nigel Wright after Mark Webster had fought courageously to get that ball away in the tackle. And Nigel Wright, superb there, sidestepped the Sheffield Trinity defence, and he put Gary Spencer underneath the post. What a superb day for Gary, and a superb day so far for Wakefield Trinity. Yes, it is, because after about 3 minutes of the second half here, and that had another dream start for Wakefield Trinity. A try right under the post, and I think if the conversion had gone over, I think Sheffield would have been beyond, you know, getting back into this game. However, it will give them that little bit of confidence if they can score an early try, but at the moment it's all Wakefield.
15-0 is the score, David. 3 minutes gone in the second half as Big Fritz gets a good head of steam up and makes good yardage, gets out of his 20. But Wakefield controlling the game so far this afternoon. Here comes John Glancy again, done some sterling work, manages to slip the ball. Nigel Bell again, and Jeff Bagnall, the captain, going in at acting half-back, getting his troops sorted out behind, gives it to Gary Price. Gary Price takes it up, and there's Maguire pulled for head-high right on the spot, David. And how many times this afternoon?
Well, there's no complaints from anybody here, and it was there, it was playing, it was for everybody to see. The lad was definitely above shoulders, and unfortunately, however ridiculous the rule is, Ian, and however bad we feel about it, it was a penalty.
And a good kick from Nigel Wright brings play down towards the Sheffield 20-metre line as John Glancy takes it right up to that line, 10 yards out from touch we are. And here comes Mark Webster. These two props, 8 and 10, have done some sterling work, make good yardage, and really gone into the Sheffield side. Here comes Bagnall working the blind. Gary Price still going, and here comes Bagnall again. Little short ball to Fritz. He sees a bit of a gap, then passes on, still keeping the ball alive, and that's a try. Beautiful try there to Wakefield, Andy Mason, but was some great passing there from the Trinity. David, you take us through that. Some Fritzy there, passed on, and then what a beautiful try.
I thought you were just going to ask me to take it through it and then tell me all about it, Ian, but yes, I mean, what a superb day for Wakefield Trinity. I mean, Gary Price there drove it into the corner, far right-hand corner as we're looking at it. From the play the ball, Fritz made a lovely break, passed it on to Nigel Wright, and Ian, I thought at one stage that he was tackled, but somehow the ball just bobbed up in the air, and who was there? Andy Mason. Andy Mason had to bend really, really low down to pick that ball up. It stuck like glue, and Andy Mason went underneath the post, and I think that's the end for Sheffield.
So here, as we have the cries of here we go, Nigel Wright then hoping to do better than his last one, and he does this time, so that's another 6 points to Wakefield.
They had 3 absolutely superb wins in the early rounds of the Yorkshire Cup. They came here as firm favourites, but they've been well and truly, and so far, well beaten in this game.
As Bagnall fields that ball, Wakefield on a high now. Sheffield, confidence-wise, must really have gone. And here we have, down on the touchline, Gary Jack getting ready to come back on. I haven't seen Peter Benson yet, he's just coming out as well, and the Wakefield crowd behind them really singing and very happy, and it's going to be a hot town tonight in Wakefield.
The coach house here and the Wakefield Trinity Clubhouse is where the function's going to take place, the after-match function. That's going to be a buzzing area tonight. I can tell you there'll be some beer flowing and some singing on the karaoke machine, so get your teeth cemented, Ian.
Here comes Big Fritz. Beautiful play from Big Fritz. He's a hard man to stop when he gets that pace going. Little chip through from Nigel Wright, just varying the tactics a little bit, but Sheffield from Cook there, down on that ball pretty quick. Here comes Maiko. And Sheffield, what can they pull out of this game? Gary Jack and Benson now back on the field, so both teams back to their full complement. As Aston trying to get Farrell clear, gives it to Jack. Jack then gets Plange going, but Plange met strongly by Fritz there, and Plange not liking that. Has a go at Fritz, and he's the wrong type of guy I'd have a go at.
Well, that's pure and utter frustration from David Plange. He's not had what you could call amount of possession, has he, today? But the chance that he had to get possession on that, he got pushed into touch, and frustration took over, and he tried to have a go at Darren Fritz. It's just not on, Ian.
So Bagnall there caught a little bit of a high one, I feel. Looks like his legs just a little bit. Here comes Gary Spencer. Wakefield still going through Gary Spencer in the Sheffield half. Bagnall lands it on to Gary Price, falling more or less just as he took that ball. Here comes John Glancy against his old teammates. He, I know which side he wants to be on this afternoon. Right again, little dummy, little jink, looking for runners, but Wakefield in total control of this game. Haven't give Sheffield anything at all. It's Bagnall again, that'll be a little kick down towards that far corner, but that looks a little bit strong. I think he's been at the roast beef in Yorkshire pudding with me before the match there as Bagsy. Just a little bit too much in it. So Aston, no, it's Timmy Lum who's going to take the tap. So Waddell and Sheffield haven't put much together so far this afternoon. Throwing balls all over, dropping balls. You Waddell there, and really look. Here can this lad inspire him? Gary Jack. Gary Jack still going. Can he inspire him? But beautiful tackle there from Richard Slater. Come back and took him beautiful. So they've got a good line this way through Maguire. Maguire, lovely ball to Aston. But nice tackle from Slater again. That lad who gets through some tackles in a game. Aston then plays the ball. Farrell, Timmy Lum to Cook. Cook going across field, but Sheffield inside the Wakefield half now. Timmy Lum to Carr. Carr gives it inside to Broadbench. Side to Price. But then they fumble the ball, and ball's knocked back, says Mr. Smith, the referee. Gary Jack takes that short ball off you Waddell, but well tackled there by Bagnall. And we're on the fifth and last. Timmy Lum, little chip over. High one this time. That's the first one we've seen all afternoon. And Gary Spencer, has he taken it? It looks like a Sheffield try. We'll have to see Looks like Maguire, David. I couldn't actually see. Did you have a better view than me?
Well, no, Ian, I think what it was, quite a number of people actually went up for that ball, and the melee of players obviously obscured the view, and Russell Smith, all credit to the man, it was right on the spot, Ian, and he pointed straight down as soon as downward pressure was put down on that ball over the Wakefield line. He gave the try. Well, I know we said that it's beyond Sheffield, Ian, but there is 30 minutes to go. Michael then tags on the 2. The score is 21-6, and there's about, I would say, in a good 30 minutes of this second half left.
Yes, can Sheffield come back? Will that give them the confidence? That's the first time they've had any chance of scoring, and it was on the 5th and last, and a change of tactics, David. Instead of the little short kick through, they've tried it for the first time this afternoon and got full benefit from it with the high kick.
Well, that's right, and Gary Spencer, that's normally so very safe and secure, he was under a great deal of pressure from about 3 or 4 Sheffield players and jumped up for the ball, and I thought that he'd taken it cleanly. Obviously, it must have somehow got dislodged from his grasp, and Maguire was there to put the downward pressure over the line.
So Sheffield then, here they come. Has it given them confidence to lift their game? They made far too many mistakes in the first half. They're looking a little bit more confident as they run, and Maguire gets the ball out to Farrell, and the Wakefield tacklers wrap round him there. Plays the ball. Blum to Aston. It's nice kick down from Mark Aston. That ball just looks like it'll travel into touch. Gary Spencer just lets it go there. Brings the scrum down into the Wakefield half. 10 metres from the Wakefield Trinity try line, David.
Yes, Ian, you know, in the first half you were saying that Wakefield Trinity were on top, but at some stage the other side always gets on a roll, and I think they're enjoying what you could call a good session. It's a good roll for Sheffield at the moment, and they've been the best side for the last 5 to 7 minutes.
So Wakefield can't rest on the rolls. 21-0 up in front. They've got to make sure that they keep that pressure on Sheffield. As Jones brings that ball away, Bagnall spots a little gap round that play of the ball, makes good yardage, gets within 10 metres of halfway. John Glancy again, he's looking for that gap as well, looking for support, getting close to halfway. Nigel Belling attacked in half-back. Big Fritz gets them legs going, and we're on the 5th and last, just over the halfway line. So it's going to be a kick downfield, is it? Nigel Wright, yeah, dummies one way, kicks through the other. It's all on his that. Gary Jack being chased by Benson, manages to evade Benson, gets the ball out, and then still playing to Aston inside, still keeping the ball alive, but Nigel Bell comes across, and I thought Nigel Bell was marking him there, but Mr. Fink Smith feels otherwise.
Well, all the Sheffield players, Ian, have been injected with some enthusiasm after that try. They're trying everything now, and they're really going to take the game to Wakefield. Wakefield have got to stand firm in defence, and they've got to just maintain this good attitude in defence while this Sheffield onslaught's taking place.
Yes, a revival from Sheffield. They need it to be at one stage. They haven't been in the game, and Sheffield going to have another penalty. Wakefield not the 10, so got to get a little bit of discipline. Are they going to go for goal? They're going to kick for touch and get more yardage. So Wakefield's defence is going to be tested. Comes Big Broadbent. Get to within 10 metres of the Trinity try line. Here comes Waddell, trying to get in there, suck the Wakefield defence in, and probably then trying to move it wide. Cook then to Maguire, switching it back the blind side to Gary Jack, inside to Plange. Plange going, but Wakefield defence still there, holding solid. So that's Tim Lum, out to Aston. Wider ball, lovely ball to Maguire. Maguire's going to be under the sticks. Well, the revival still goes on. Can they come back, David? A try to Maguire, looked like a planned move. Took it well, Maguire.
Maguire came absolutely storming onto the ball, and this is the best spell that Sheffield have had in all the game. I mean, Ian, they looked really well dead and buried at 21 points to 0 down. But, I mean, obviously 12 points inside 5 minutes has got to be a tonic for anybody. And this Sheffield side have really upped the game. Wakefield Trinity have got to do something now. They've got to consolidate the position.
Yes, and Paul Carr's come off for Sheffield, and Andy Young has gone on. Kick is successful, so we now have a scoreline of Wakefield 21, Sheffield 12. And for the first time this afternoon, we hear the cry of Eagles, Eagles. They've been really quiet behind us. Mark Webster getting a good round of applause from the Trinity fans as he comes off. Billy Conway comes on. So Wakefield under a little bit of pressure. Well, leading 21-0. Did they sit back and just let things happen? And Sheffield have got that little bit of confidence now. The tackling department of Wakefield's got to be tested and got to be coming up trumps. Here they come, rampaging. Here comes Waddell using the pack, the Wakefield pack on top for so long. And Sheffield now really buzzing. Had a little glint, and they're taking full advantage. Maguire wide out here, two tries for him in a Yorkshire Cup final. Here comes Maiko. Maiko met strongly by Andy Mason, but Mr. Smith says it was high. And Wakefield giving silly penalties away, David, and putting Sens under pressure.
Well, that's what Sheffield did in the first half, and they got well punished. But what's happening here is the ball's been kept out of Wakefield Trinity's hands, and they're not been able to establish themselves firmly in this second half like Sheffield weren't allowed to do it in the first. So come on, Wakefield, let's really consolidate in defence and try and grab this ball.
So here comes Sheffield again with Big Broadbent. As David says, it's been all Sheffield. They've had all the play. They must have had the ball for the last 5 or 6 minutes at least. As Waddell bursts through tackles. The Wakefield defence now is getting a good testing. Here comes Cook to Maguire. And Maguire makes the first mistake they've made for 10 minutes, David.
Yeah, that's what Wakefield needed. They've got the respite now. They've just got to hold this ball for 5 tackles, get as far up the field as they can, a good long kick and chase, and let's work hard in defence. That's the only thing they can do. Keep the ball off the Sheffield side for as long as they can.
Richard Slater there finding no respite and getting shoved well back. There's Gary Spencer. He comes in and gets to the 20-metre line. At Wakefield, Big Fritz then, he's trying to get it, and the Sheffield defence has really come up trumps so far. No Wakefield forward actually running. And we're on the 5th and last, and probably we've only gained about 6 or 7 metres there. That's going to be back to Nigel Wright, and it needs a good kick from him this time. It gets over halfway where Mark Gamson just going to let it go in a touch, so that's a little bit of respite for Wakefield with the ball going in the touch. Gives them chance to get a good deep breath and get themselves set ready for the Sheffield head and ball, David.
Well, that's right, because Sheffield at the moment got the tails well and truly up in the air, and they'll obviously gained a lot of confidence from those 2 quick tries. Got to try and stem the flow though, Ian.
As Gary Jack gets caught with the ball, midfield. Here comes Maguire. Maguire looking for somebody to pass to. Gets up and plays it quick. Here comes Maiko. Maiko tries a dummy with plunging inside, but Wakefield not falling for that. Andy Mason and Richard Slater make the tackle. Cook gives it to Timmy Lum. Longer ball to Aston. Longer ball then to 14, which is Andy Young who's come on. So bringing it back this way. Aston to Timmy Lum to Farrell. Got a bit of an overlap, but Farrell there, well taken by Richard Slater. Andy Mason then comes in. So Maguire, we're on the 5th and last. Aston under pressure, puts a nice kick down into the Wakefield 20 where David Jones picks up. David Jones comes into the middle, met strongly by the chasing Sheffield defence. He's in centre field. Nigel Bell acting half-back. Goes across, trying to get good yardage, and Wakefield, crowd behind him at that, trying to get back in some areas where they can probably score some more points and just bridge the gap a little bit. Here comes John Glancy, trying to get up to halfway. Darren Fritz just took his time there, getting up a bit. Nigel Wright, looking for an opening, makes a lovely opening. Nigel Wright gets through again, keeps his feet. Lovely run there from Nigel Wright. All afternoon he's made some good runs like that. And there he gets a penalty, being held down in the tackle by Dave Maiko. Probably holding onto his shirt, and that's a silly mistake from Maiko.
Is it too early, Ian, to pick the man of the match? Because I think this
You're going for Nigel Wright?
I think he's done enough, the young 18-year-old, to grab the White Rose trophy. I think he's been an exceptional player. He's scored a nice try himself, and he's made a couple. So, Ian, what can I say?
Well, I'm biased, but he won my man of match at half-time.
Well, what can I say, Ian? You know, I mean, I don't think he has. He hasn't actually scored a try. He's kicked a goal, but he's made 2 tries, Ian, and he's made some absolutely superb breaks in the centre of the field. He's cut the Sheffield defence to ribbons on numerous occasions, and I think this lad thoroughly deserves the White Rose trophy.
So it's Benson now that's going to attempt this kick back on the field after these 10 minutes in the sin bin, and Sheffield have made the substitution back with Lawton coming back on for Hugh Waddell. He's done his 30 minutes or whatever he does here, Waddell, nowadays. So Benson 30 metres out, nearly enough, just to the right hand side of the post. It looks to have struck it well, and tell from the cheers there that that is over. So Gary Spencer bringing the ball out. Jeff Bagnall, team captain, getting his troops sorted out in that 20-metre area, giving them a little bit of respite. Here comes Vic Fritz. He's had a big game so far. He was in the running for man of the match, I felt, at one stage in the first half. Gone a little bit quiet though of late. Probably finding the pace of the game just a little tough for him at the moment, but he'll come again. Oh, Gary Price, I thought he'd just made another little mistake there, but we're on the 5th and last. Back to Wright, puts a superb kick in, does Nigel Wright, well down the field. That's well into the Sheffield 20, where Plange just touches it with his foot and it's all on. Plange trying to come up this outside past David Jones, but he won't get far. Jacking at acting half back to Maiko, and the Wakefield tacklers there in numbers, trying to pin Sheffield down in this half of the field. Not should give any silly penalties away. Here comes Farrell. Tough customer, strong lad, hadn't had many chances so far. Wakefield pinning Sheffield down this area of the field. Richard Slater getting entangled up there with Lum, and that's Aston with the kick back down field towards the Wakefield 20, where Andy Wilson lets it goes into touch. Just passing the time on, going for the scrum. How long to go, David?
Well, I make it about 15 plus injury time, and there's not been a great deal of that, Ian, has there?
No, there hasn't, David. Just the stoppage as well. Benson has been taking the kicks as Jeff Bagnall comes away from the scrum. Farrell, the loose forward, following him all the way, but makes valuable yardage. Andy Wilson has a little go against his former teammates from acting halfback. Doesn't get very far, and had many chances, Andy, so far this afternoon. Been out for 5 games with the shoulder injury. So Bagnall looks for the gap, tries to get through it to Slaughton, who's back on, spotted that, and Nigel Wright then comes into the line, kicks downfield. That's a beautiful kick. That's rolling towards the corner flag. That's probably going to go. That's too good a kick. That's just going to go touching goal. At one time it looked to be going in just near the corner flag, David.
Yeah, it did. It was an absolutely superb kick, rolling point to point over and over again, and it looks as if it was just going to nip into that top corner there, Ian, but it didn't. But however, Sheffield have still got to bring it away from deep inside their own half.
So Sheffield just over their own 20. That's Lum. Lum's in acting half back. Gives it to Aston on this side. Gary Jack links, but it goes to Maguire himself. Captain, he's trying to inspire his team as well. Plays the ball pretty quick to Maiko. Aston, longer ball. That looked a little bit of a knock on there. A little bit of a low pass there from Aston. So the pressure of Wakefield on Broadbent just making him fumble that. So it gives Wakefield a chance to put a bit of pressure now on Sheffield from this scrum. And Paul Carr, second row man, coming on for Paul Broadbent. I think the attendance 7,500. Did I hear correct, David?
I didn't quite hear it, Ian. I was just wrapped up in the substitution there, but it certainly looks a big crowd when you look to this far end. But when you look at the empty spaces over the new development side on this stand, you can understand why there's probably only 7,000 here.
Fritz then on a charge. He's in 10 metres now of the Sheffield line. Wakefield coming back, wanting to add more to this points than they've already got, as Bagnall bobbing and weaving, ducking and diving, trying to get in there. Billy Conway gives it to Bit Fritz. I think he's after scoring this afternoon. He's tried everything possible to get over that Sheffield line, hasn't managed it so far. Oh, lovely ball there from Billy Conway to Gary Price, and it's under the sticks.
Well, and that's another present for Linda there, Gary. I hope Linda's just hung on long enough for you to get back to the hospital tonight to see the birth of your child. But however, if you don't make it, that's a superb present for the newborn baby and Linda. Well done, Gary. Well done, Linda. And well done, Wakefield, because now I believe, firmly believe, that is definitely beyond Sheffield's reach now, Ian.
And that's successful from Benson, so that makes the score now Wakefield 29, Sheffield 12. So they withstood that good 10 minutes, but like I said earlier, David, every team has a time when they're on a roll, and Sheffield's had that little bit, but for the rest of the time it's been all Wakefield.
Yeah, obviously the onslaught came about, well, just 5 minutes into the second half, and they scored 12 points in a matter of 5 minutes, and it looked at one stage as if Sheffield were going to have a major fight back, but some superb breaks by Nigel Wright and some good finishing by his teammates have stopped the rot, and so far Wakefield Trinity now are in a very, very commanding position with only approximately 11 minutes left.
Here comes John Glancy, getting the valuable yardage upfield, getting the good following of Wakefield supporters. You can hear them singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" behind the post there, just trying to give the lads a lift. All set up, looks like it's going to be a kick downfield. Nigel Wright in behind his wall of players, and that's another good strong kick. Gary Jack just misjudges it, goes over his head, and look at the chasers up there, 2, 4, 6, 7 Wakefield players, and spotting Gary Jack, not getting him any room at all, and Gary Jack there going for the penalty. Darren Fritz just shoved him over, and here he comes, inspiration to his lads. Gary Jack still thinks of a chance, still trying to go, still trying to get something out of this game. Aston, ball to Andy Young, who's come on. Paul Carr, second row lad, who's come back on for Broadbent. Here's Cook, the hooker, making a little break round acting half back, little dummy one way, little dummy the other. Brings play inside the Wakefield half, trying to play the ball to himself. Then Billy Conway makes the tackle on his opposite number at Sheffield there from Paul Carr. He's seen a little bit of a gap and he's going for it. Brings play to him 10 metres of the Trinity 20. Looked to knock on there, did he? Oh, he didn't like that, Mark Gamson, and it looked like a Trinity player were interfering with play, David.
Yeah, Jeff Bagnall there just stuck his foot out as far as I'm concerned, and just stopped the Sheffield man from picking that ball up cleanly, and the referee gave a knock on. So yeah, it obviously caused a bit of upset in the crowd. Sheffield fans down below us here, and they really did have a shout at that one, but No excuse for kicking the ball away. It is a technical offence and it can be punished with 10 minutes in the sin bin.
Thank you, David, for those comments. So Gary Spencer linked up in the attack now. Wakefield in possession, centre field, just 10 metres over their own 20-metre line. Nigel Bell. A little bit of something happening there, David. Can you see Farrell and Billy Conway just not... and looks like Farrell's just getting a little bit upset, David.
Yeah, well, I can't understand why. I mean, I can honestly see why there's obviously frustration setting in. But obviously, all this, you know, I mean, there was nothing wrong with the tackle there. Nigel Bell didn't do anything in that tackle, certainly. He lost the ball, and he just went to grab the ball back, which is what you would normally do as an instinct. But Farrell tried to make something of it, probably did something in the tackle which the Wakefield players didn't like, and obviously they responded to that. And it certainly looks that Farrell's been penalised. He has. And that's been Sheffield's game all the first half and for part of this second half. And the frustration can only get worse if they continue to do these things.
Just a bit of lack of discipline then, David.
Yeah, I think so, Ian, and I think Gary Etherington will say that to his lads, you know, when they actually sit back and reflect on this game.
So it's Nigel Wright then. Eight minutes left as John Gansey gets carried back inside his own half there by Sheffield Eagles tacklers. Nigel Bell just fumbles. Ball goes to Paul Carr. Australian second row trying to go outside Richard Slater, but Richard's got a little bit of pace and here's a good tackler. Gary Jack linking with the attack. Gary Jack still tries a dummy, but well taken there by Nigel Wright, who's got penalised for head high. Nothing wrong with Richard Slater down below. Quick tap, Aston, long ball there to Price, got to overlap. Mark Gamson, is he through? Got Gary Spencer to beat, and he scores in the corner, does he? Gary Spencer there a little bit lacking, more or less stood on his own try line, David, and so Sheffield's still coming back, David, still wanting to score.
Yeah, quick hands there, and Sheffield took full advantage of that quick tap, threw it out to the right-hand side of the park. Wakefield Trinity very thin in cover on that area of the field, and Sheffield then, Gamson, he managed to round Peter Benson and just beat Gary Spencer to the corner.
So 29-16, Nigel Wright going to kick off. And we've just heard that Nigel Wright has got the man of the match award, David, so we've both been proved right. Here comes Gary Jack, inspiration for Sheffield. So we've more or less said everything about Nigel Wright then, David.
Yes, I mean, obviously, I mean, he's been the best footballer on the field today. You know, as he split the Sheffield defence to ribbons on numerous occasions. He's made those couple of tries. He's thoroughly deserved it, and I'm really, really pleased for the lad. 18-year-old. It looked as if at one stage this weekend that he wouldn't make the game through injury, which he sustained at Salford, a rib injury, but he's managed to come through that, and he's proved to David Topless and to everybody at Wakefield he's definitely a star for the future.
Knock on there from Sheffield, trying to play a little bit of catch-up rugby. Just below us here, looks like Richard Slater's got a heavy knock. He's got a little bit of cut above his eye, and it looks like Mark Webster's going to come back on for him. He's coming off his Richard. He's that type of lad. He don't want to come off the field. He wants to be on that field when that game finishes. But getting a good round of applause from the crowd there as Mark Webster comes back on for him. So Trinity with possession just on the 20-metre line. We're entering the last 5 minutes as David Jones from acting half-back. Here comes Fritz. Fritz going, flicks a little ball out backwards, and that looks like a knock on there from Billy Conway. Yes, David?
Those teeth got in a mess there, eh? Fritz flicks a ball back, eh? What did you say?
I thought I got it just exactly right. And looks like Richard Goddard's going to come on. He's going to come on for Andy Wilson. Andy Wilson still over the far side. I don't think he's got any injury there as Sheffield's got the ball. I think it's just a matter of getting Richard Goddard on there for the game to say he's played in the Yorkshire Cup final, which would be nice also. He's only 18, he's a little bit younger than Nigel Wright actually. Richard can still play in the academy, whereas Nigel's just 2 months too old to play in the academy. But two promising lads for the future for Wakefield Trinity, as Sheffield get a penalty for hooking the ball out, then not getting the 10, and then getting the scrum because they didn't take the tap in their eagerness, didn't go on the mark to take the tap, and so that's going to be a scrum down with Wakefield head and ball.
Yes, it is, and on comes Richard Goddard then. I don't think Andy Wilson will begrudge Richard a chance to play in the Yorkshire Cup final. As you say, Ian, there's definitely nothing wrong with Andy Wilson. It's David Topless giving Richard Goddard a run, and I think it's well deserved.
So here comes Nigel Wright. Wakefield in possession, took a bit of an heavy knock there as it hurt his ribs a little bit. No, Mark Webster goes from acting half-back. He's had a powerful game with John Glancy up front for Wakefield. Early stages of this game, they were really doing some tremendous stuff. Benson slips the ball out. Ball goes backwards. Wakefield still trying to keep it alive, but the tigerish tackling the Sheffield, shoving Wakefield back. Bagnall took a little bit of a knock. John Glancy. Billy Conway singling. I don't know. He's going to try a kick or something. Nigel Belly might be setting up for the drop goal. I think, David. We're on the fifth and last. That's a bad ball. That could be back to one, is it? Jeff Bagnall. That looks a little bit too strong, but I thought they were setting up for the drop goal.
Well, why not? You know, you go into the opposition's 20-metre line and you come away with a point, but Jeff Bagnall just a little bit too hard with that kick. But Ian, the crowd are whistling now. I make it that we're into the last few minutes of this game, and with the score at 29-16, the cup should be Wakefield Trinity's, Ian.
Yes, and Wakefield penalised offside, and it'll be the first time they've won the Yorkshire Cup since 1964. And the last time they won a cup was 1969 when they won the championship, and I actually played in that team, David. So it's been a long time coming, but we're all dead chuffed that looks like today is going to be that day to lay the ghost at Wakefield Trinity.
Well, Ian, and if you remember, our Alliance side defeated Sheffield Eagles in the second round of the Yorkshire Senior competition. We're into the semi-finals. You never know, Ian, we could have a cup double this year.
I hope we're right, David. As Sheffield then come at Wakefield defence, they're getting inside the Wakefield half. Here comes Tim Loam, trying to set players up, going on his own from acting half-back. Slings a wild ball out that Richard Goddard picks up, so Wakefield in possession, 10 metres from the halfway centre field. Billy Conway then to Mark Webster. Mark Webster still going strong. Wakefield a little bit bunched there, David, not got much width to their game. It looks like all they're going to do is just play the tackles out as David Jones runs crabwise across the field, and I think they're just waiting for the final whistle.
Well, I can see here the two timekeepers directly below is shaking up the makeshift blowhorn there to give the hooter and the final whistle. So I think it's only a matter of seconds now. So Wakefield Trinity's name, I think, goes on the 1992 John Smith's Yorkshire Cup.
Adam Fritz then just getting up to play the ball. Bagnall with a little kick downfield. Nice little kick. Rolls inside the 20 of Sheffield's. Gary Jack, long ball out to Maiko. Maiko looking for room, trying to get round Andy Mason, but then he passes on to Plange, who gets knocked down by Maiko, and we're just a few metres short of the halfway. Timmy Loam, long ball to Wastern, to Maguire. Maguire out in the centres, got Richard Price there with him. But Richard Goddard makes the tackle on him. So it's Sheffield with play. That's a kick down then. Kick and chase from Timmy Lum. Gary Spencer feels that ball. Beats Gary Lum, does he? No, he just hangs on to his shirt. And there, with that final tackle, it's a cup victory for Wakefield Trinity by 29 points to 16, is it, David? And it's been thoroughly deserved. Being on top, there's just 1 point in the game where Sheffield came back in the second half, but it's been a day for Wakefield Trinity, laying the ghost of the 1960s, I believe, starting a new era of the 1990s, David. What a way to start by winning the Yorkshire Cup.
29-16 the score then, Ian. Absolutely superb support here at Ellen Road for Wakefield Trinity. All the players now moving towards the Cop end here at Ellen Road. They're supporting this Wakefield Trinity side, and Wakefield Trinity really applauding their support today. David Topless down below us must be a very proud man at this moment. Everybody's lifting to the side. Sheffield then in the first half made numerous errors. Wakefield Trinity early in the second half, they did exactly that. Sheffield got on a roll and it looked as if Sheffield were going to make a major revival, but Wakefield Trinity weathered the storm and they finished convincing victors at 29-16. And Jeff Bagnall's going to lead his side up the steps here at Ellen Road to receive the John Smith's Yorkshire Cup. And as Ian says, that's the first trophy here at Wakefield for a good number of years. Who knows, Sheffield could have come back, but as it is, Jeff Bagnall, he's picked up the Yorkshire Cup here for Wakefield Trinity, and there'll be celebrations tonight in the coach house at the Wakefield Trinity site at Bellevue. There'll be beer flowing, there'll be people singing, there'll be celebrations for Gary Spencer and Gary Price especially. Obviously they've not had a great deal to cheer in the league this season, no points from 6 games, but we've won the Yorkshire Cup, Ian, and you know, the Lion can only go from strength to strength, can't it? It's got to give us confidence to do something now in the league.
Well, yes, in the league, David, we haven't got any points, but like I've been telling everybody, we've been playing well. It's just that bit of luck that's eluded us. And today we got the luck early where that kick from Wakefield player struck him and Slater scored the try. You need luck in the game. That we've got a share today, I feel.
Yes, we've had a fair share, but we've also fought very, very hard in defence. We've stopped this Sheffield machine, who have defeated some really top sides this season. We've stopped them playing the football. Wakefield Trinity have come out on top this afternoon. Marvellous feeling for the lads, I'm sure. The cup then is with Andy Mason at the moment, and he's walking towards our commentary position directly below us, taking the plaudits from the Wakefield Trinity contingent of supporters directly below us. Marvellous occasion for Wakefield. Celebrations will probably start immediately as the lads hit the changing rooms. Have a few interviews with especially the man of the match, Nigel Wright. Well, here we are outside of the dressing rooms here, and with me is David Topless. It's the first trophy that Wakefield Trinity have won for some 24 years. David, how do you feel about it?
I'm absolutely delighted. It's been an hard week really, because we played abysmal last weekend. But I know we've got the forwards for the job today. It's the best pack I've had out all season, and they did the business the first half, and then Jeff Bagnall and Nigel Wright took over.
Speaking about Nigel Wright, an absolutely tremendous performance from an 18-year-old lad. He's obviously a star for the future, isn't he?
That's right. His head hasn't got to go too big, but he's got to keep his feet on the ground. But I was highly delighted with Nigel, his kicking game and his distribution, and he come up with the short breaks, you know, to make tries, and he had a dream game really for an 18-year-old kid.
He did, David. Just a spell in the second half when Sheffield Eagles scored 12 points in about 5 minutes. Did you ever think at one stage that because we've been commanding it so long that we might, you know, it might fall from his grasp?
No, I never really thought it'd fall from his grasp, but I know that Sheffield, and I told the lads at half-time that Sheffield were better than that they produced the first half. There's a lot of good players off Sheffield. That's why the win is a very good win. They feel they can beat any team from behind, and they have done in the previous rounds of the Yorkshire Cup. But this time I felt they'd let us get a bit too far. You know, we played well to get that 21-0 lead, and they couldn't catch up.
Well, also here with me today is Gary Spencer. Gary, you scored an absolutely superb try this afternoon under the post. It's been a superb week for you, really. Wife Bev just given birth to your daughter Olivia. What were you feeling at the time when you went over for the try?
Well, obviously, as you've been saying, it was all down to Nigel Wright. He's had a terrific game today for an 18-year-old, and hopefully that'll just lift his confidence, and it's also lifted the confidence in the side. So all I had to do really was support, as a number of players did today, off Nigel. If we followed him today, he was just breaking through. It seemed to be at will. So all I had to do was take the ball off Nigel and go under the post. But obviously, like you said, with my wife just having his first little girl on Friday night, it's just been a tremendous week for me. It's a week I'll never forget, and I'll be going to visit her tonight before I have a good drink with the lads, and I'll be showing her this winner's medal, and it's just a dream come true. And I'm just pleased for myself and pleased for all the lads, because we've taken some stick this season, sometimes rightly so. Last Sunday we had a terrible game really, and again we should have really won, but up until that we've been playing decent football. But we've just been making silly mistakes and just taking wrong options. But we've shown today by getting that position 21-0 up that we're a team to be reckoned with on this day, and hopefully this will be the corner that we can turn and have a good night tonight, get down to it, and then do Leeds on Wednesday. And then obviously we've got a week off and the John playing. Let's just hope we can, like David says, go on from this and get some valuable league points.
With me here today as well is Wakefield Trinity's captain, the Australian Jeff Bagnall. He's clutching this Yorkshire Cup, as you can see, and this is for his family back home more than anything, but it's also a good thing for Wakefield Trinity supporters to see some silverware in the grasp of our captain. So Jeff, today you must have been really, really pleased with the performance, firstly of Nigel Wright and secondly of the whole team, because it was absolutely tremendous.
Yeah, David, we'll just keep it short. We played really well, and Nigel had a terrific game, and but I thought the forwards laid the foundations, Big Fritzy and also Webby and Belly, of course, and young John Glancy. But we all played well, especially the forwards in the first half. And as you were saying, I'd just like to show my family this trophy back home. It's a long while since I've won one, and I did it all the way over here, 12,000 miles away from home, but I'm thinking of them all the time. And to my old man, we finally won a trophy.
Superb game, and everything went for Wakefield Trinity today, and we'll see you all for the midweek fixture with Leeds at Bellevue. Thanks a lot.